So we're still in the virtue section here. Next question. Is it allowable for Theravada monks to practice vegetarianism? They all know what it means to be a vegetarian, to eat only veggies, and there are different levels. But let's keep it simple. Let's say just veggies. Yeah. So is it allowable for a Theravada monk to decide to be a vegetarian? Answer A, yes, they should be vegetarian. Eating meat causes killing of animals. Or answer B, yes, it is allowable for him to practice vegetarianism, but only if they have an underlying health issue. Healthy monks must accept whatever they are given in order to be easy to support. Or answer C, no, vegetarianism is allowable only for monastics of the Mahayana group of Buddhism, but not for the Theravadins. Or answer D, no, monks live on the food provided by the laity. Beggars can't be choosers. If you get easy support, you can say, I want this, I want that. So no, monks are not allowed. It's not allowed for monks to be vegetarians. Or lastly, answer E, if they choose to be vegetarians, they can do so. But no rule that they must or that they must not. Answer E. Okay, I'll give you a little bit of time to think about it. And we'll see the answers together. Ten more seconds. Okay. So let us see how you have voted. Oh, so the majority has been split between answer B, yes, only if they have a health issue they can be vegetarians, and answer D, that, oh no, answer E. Okay, if they choose to be vegetarians, they can do so. Okay, it's a close race between two answers. Let us see what is the correct one. Answer E. Yes, they can choose actually freely. If they want to be vegetarians, they can. If they do not want, then they can also eat meat. So let us also briefly have a look at the other answers that were given here. Yes, they should be vegetarian. Eating meat causes killing. There's some truth to that in that there's a connection between the consumption of meat and the killing of animals. But who is it who kills the animal? It's not the monk, or it's not the person who buys food in the store or in the shop on the market. But killing will be done by whoever earns his living by it, a butcher usually. So everybody is the owner of his own karma. So if you choose to become a butcher, then it is your karma. But if you choose to buy meat that has been killed by others without you telling him, you're not ordering that person to kill, then it's not your karma. You're not directly responsible. But of course, there's a cause-effect relationship. The more we eat, the more that person may himself or herself decide to kill. And in this way, one might be indirectly supports the whole process of slaughter. But there's no rule against that. As long as the monk has not seen or heard or suspects that it was killed specifically for him, it's allowable for monks to make use of that meat. The second answer that was given here, also not uninteresting, I find, is that if somebody has an underlying health issue, then the monks, it's okay for monks then to make stipulations. But healthy monks should, by default, accept whatever they are given in order also to be easy to support. So this is principle I also very much agree with, but it's not a rule. So there's no rule that says you cannot decide to eat only veggies. So if people offer rice, veggies, meat, and the monk has many things in his bowl, it's up to him whether he eats the meat also, or he could just leave it aside. There's no rule about that. So yeah, even though in the Mahayana sect there is a general understanding that it's a duty and must for Buddhists to be vegetarians, but in early Buddhist schools, this is not the case. So there the Buddha left it open. Also this principle that beggars can't be choosers, it is a correct and good principle to keep in mind. If you live in dependence on somebody else, it's not so nice then to make a long list of stipulations, what you want, what you don't want. Normally, monks are pretty well supported, especially in Buddhist countries. Also here in Malaysia, to my surprise. So it's not much need actually to give a lot of stipulations. But if there are health reasons, I think then there's another thing. But one can still choose to be vegetarian also. It's up to the individual. There was even at the Buddha's time, there was one monk who wanted to split the Sangha and wanted to become the new leader of the Sangha. He was a competitor of the Buddha. In fact, he was the Buddha's cousin, Theravada. And in order to win over some of the other monks, he suggested, we should be more strict. We cannot just all live in kutis and huts. We should live at the foot of a tree. So this was one of the suggestions with which he wanted to win over some of the monks. And some of them followed him. And he also said, we should all live in the forest under a tree, and we should all go in arms round. Nobody is allowed to bring food to the monastery, so relaxed. No, we should go in proper arms round from house to house. And one of his suggestions was also that every monk must be vegetarian. And what did the Buddha say? How did the Buddha reply to that request and this suggestion? He said, I allow the monks to live under the foot of a tree. It's a good practice. And oftentimes the Buddha recommended that already. But he also allows to stay in a hut with under a roof. And the same he said about eating meat. I allow for people to be vegetarian, so monks can voluntarily undertake this practice. But he also said, I allow the consumption of meat as long as it has been not killed for you specifically or by you specifically. So if the monk has not heard about it or not seen they have killed the animal for him or suspected, then it's allowable from the Vinaya point of view. Nonetheless, many of us do voluntarily lean a bit on vegetarianism just out of compassion for the animals. And since we all know how many in this animal mass production, how they are kept, how they are fed, it's really heart-wrenching and really difficult to see any of these reports or hear these reports, how they are kept. So many of us don't want to have anything to do with it, and out of compassion, we decide to either minimize the consumption of meat or let go of it altogether. But this again is a voluntary practice. Okay, and now it's a hot topic. Every time this topic comes up, I'm sure in the questions afterwards there will be somebody asking, how is it in interesting topic.